Hello, this is Oliver Slezak at oliver8008@gmail.com. I've got 3 ideas for you today for the rail industry, innovation ideas. The first one is about copying the business model and idea from Better Place, which is at betterplace.com. Better Place has solved the battery range problem with electric vehicles, small sedan vehicles, passenger car vehicles, by having between, say, Sydney and Melbourne in Australia, having swap stations for the batteries, and also having charge points around the metropolitan areas. So this basically solves the problem about the battery range problem, so that can be done. So if that idea was then applied to the freight train industry, perhaps between, again, Sydney and Melbourne, then so the trains would be able to drive about 200 kilometers and then swap batteries over quickly, probably in about 3, 4, 5 minutes with a large machine, and then basically travel again for another 200 or 300 kilometers and swap batteries over again. Then these new types of trains would also be able to connect in with the existing metropolitan electric rail grid that runs most of the trains around the cities in Sydney and Melbourne. So the advantages of this would be that there would be a cheaper power source to drive the trains, and also the trains themselves would be more reliable, because having a diesel motor is a more complicated machine than electric and battery motor. So you can chase that up with Better Place at www.betterplace.com.au. The second idea for the rail industry, the freight rail, is to tarp the whole train, or the freight part of the train, like they do on semi-trailers. This would create aerodynamicness between all the carriages, which have lots of places that the aerodynamicness is not happening efficiently. So let's say it's a 1 kilometer long train, there are 4 tarps covering each other, and perhaps the tarps could be mechanically taken on and off, hopefully within 10 minutes at either end. The advantages for this there would be an increase in fuel economy or power economy, and it would possibly also make the take off at the various times that the train takes off. It would happen a lot faster. The disadvantages is obviously there's a cost involved in setting this up, and also the time to take it on and off. Also, refrigerated containers would need to be separated out from underneath the tarps. The third idea is about how to speed up the train trips between, say, Sydney and Melbourne. What about copying the idea from the magnetic levitation trains, and actually put them next to the freight carriages, and propel them horizontally. So basically, it's just there'd be these magnetic stations next to the train lines at spots. Just say between Sydney and Melbourne, there's 40 places where the train has to slow down for various reasons, crossing tracks, towns, and say mountains and stuff like that. So these times, when it was then the time for the train to accelerate again to 100 kilometers an hour or faster, these magnetic stations would propel the whole carriage to get back up the speed more quickly. So the advantage of this is that the trips would be faster between 2 locations. The disadvantage is some cost to set the system up, and also there's a possibility of damaging some of the stock in the freight trains. Well, that's it from me with the 3 ideas. That's Oliver Slezak, innovator, and thank you so much for your time.